I went around and I looked for a space. And luckily, I got in touch with one of my senior. He wanted to live abroad, and then he was trying to sell off his furniture. So I said, I cannot pay you directly, but I know how to develop a website. Since you're traveling outside, I will develop some travel agent website for you so that when you are working outside, you can still, try to market your tour agency in that particular country. And that's how we agreed. So he gave me around 8 tables and 12 chairs. So that's how we started. Now I needed someone to use my space. And then from that 5 friends, 2 of them were jobless. So what I did was I requested 2 of them, giving them another scenario of starting your own business and being your own boss. And, somehow I was able to convince them.
Hello everyone, my name is Din Long and welcome to the podcast Lifeline. In this podcast, I will interview people who are having a positive impact in their community and have a strong message that deserves to be shared. We will dive deeper into their journey becoming a change maker, and hopefully you can take away some insights for your own journey. And please do subscribe to Lifeline on YouTube, Apple Podcast or any platform that you are using. And also you can share this episode with your friends if you like it. It's really what helps me the most. In today's episode, you will be meeting Tashi, who is empowering the first wave of social entrepreneurs in Bhutan. He founded iHub, the first private coworking space and pre-incubation program in the country, learning how to run a business at the same time as the entrepreneurs he was supporting. We discuss about why he quit a comfortable job in Singapore to restart everything in Bhutan, his crazy journey finding and supporting the first entrepreneurs of iHub, and his life-changing meeting with His Majesty the King of Bhutan. You will love Tashi's drive to boost the entrepreneurship ecosystem and create an entrepreneurial culture in Bhutan, his candid respect for the leaders of his country, and his outstanding skill to get things done. Enjoy this episode and see you in 1 hour and 30 minutes. Hello Tashi, welcome to Lifeline Podcast. So happy to have you today, Tashi. So many people spoke about you from my friends, whether it's my colleagues, whether it's my friends, whether it's other social entrepreneurs. I think you are quite famous in Bhutan, from what I understood. Whether it's for your futsal skills or your social entrepreneurship skills. I think you are the first guest from Bhutan in this podcast. So I'm really excited because I myself don't know much about Bhutan. I mean, Namgyal tried to explain to me a lot about Bhutan, but I think there's still so much I can discover. And I'm really curious about your life. I've been trying to read all your interviews online. I've seen that you met with the king of Bhutan, so we will speak about it during the interview. But I guess that for Bhutanese, it must be a really big achievement. I spoke already a lot, so maybe, would you like to introduce yourself, where you come from, and what do you currently do?
Firstly, thank you so much. It is really a privilege to be part of your podcast and to, share our experience so that we can reach out to many more other social aspiring entrepreneurs. So, and I hope my friends, they talked good things about me. I don't know what they said, so I hope.
Only good things.
And I am Tashi, and I run a pre-incubation and a co-working space in Thimphu. So I call myself a accidental entrepreneur or a accidental incubator, because when I started, I didn't really have much knowledge on what and how a business is supposed to operate. So I felt that there was a need of a support service in the community. So that's how we just started our incubation center. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that you call yourself accidental entrepreneur. I think it's. I thought actually, because I read in one of your interviews that you always wanted a 9-to-5 job when you were younger, and you didn't want to start your own business or your own project. But you happen to start your own project about something you don't know. So I guess it's even more difficult than just starting your own project. So could you share a bit like how was the transition between like you wanted a 9 to 5 job and now you decided to launch your own business?
Okay. So the fun fact here in our culture is we don't really uh, think business or entrepreneurship as a career option. So what happened was from my pre-primary education till my till my graduation, I always had I always thought I will do something by like basically working 9 to 5. But when I had my first job in 2013, right after my graduation, what I found out was I was not really meant for 9 to 5. I was there in the office physically, but I used to, think of something else. And I always, since I studied IT, I always used to do some freelancing work online, and and I really had limited time, focusing on my office job, my permanent job. So what I was doing was I was basically trying to, develop some website and some app for some of my client. So 9 to 5 was never my thing. And then in 2016, I had my first time opportunity to travel to Singapore, where they gave me and a job offer where I was supposed to develop website and host event for them. So during my stay in Singapore, I found out this concept of incubation, especially from some university. University, they had this particular room where students go over there and then they take help from mentor. Especially, I think they were the professor, so they were taking some mentorship from the professors and they were developing some prototype. That's where I realized, this was something that was missing in Bhutan. So I immediately I requested my employer to, I wanted to quit my job, and then I requested them to, cancel my contract so that I can go back and start business, and I can, I thought I can easily make money by, creating such space. But then when I got back to Bhutan, there was two difficulty. One was the cultural mindset that my parents, they didn't really want me to, leave a comfortable job which was paying me good, and which was, which in fact had, supported, which in fact will support me comfortably and without having much to worry. Like when you start business, it is very uncertain, and then it is very risky also. So my family, they were a of uh, bit of risk averse, and they said, I don't have to start business. Why don't I look for job again in Bhutan? So that was my first thing when I started off. And the second one was the policy. I think it is the bureaucrat system that which they mostly, since the co-working space and incubation was quite new thing, so it was difficult for the government to understand where to put me, in which category to put me in when I apply for license. So, and then from that onward, I realized, if I face such problem starting a business just to obtain a license, if it takes around 6 months, and what about people who have just graduated and people who don't know much about policies, what and how they will do it. So that's where I thought, I will not directly start incubation. I will go for pre-incubation and co-working space. So that's how we started.
Okay. No, I think it's interesting because while implementing your own company, you learn what were the challenges of setting up in Bhutan. So you realize how you could help other Bhutanese entrepreneurs. So I find it interesting. But then let's come back a bit into the past. So yeah, really, okay, let's try to keep a chronology. But so when you say in Bhutan, people mainly aim for 9 to 5 jobs, is it so very because I don't know much about Bhutan, so I'll just ask what are the dreams or aspirations of young people in Bhutan or university students? Is it to work for the government? Is it to work for private company? What is it?
Okay. So from our pre-primary education till our graduation, we are taught only to do job. We are only taught to do job for the government, for the corporation. They have prepared our mindset for 9 to 5 job. So I think most of the young people, they never thought they can do something apart from this particular 9 to 5 job. So we were never taught about entrepreneurship, or we were never taught about you can do something out of your own passion. So for instance, myself, when I was in school, we never had this. I never heard about this term entrepreneurship, and still now, I still face difficulty in pronouncing and spelling that entrepreneurship. I attempt forget, which one comes first. You comes first or E comes first. Sometimes, so I make mistake in. So, so my main point that I'm trying to say here is entrepreneurship is very new term here, and then most of the young people, they prefer working for government. First option is government, and second option is working in corporate. And if somehow, if you are not qualifying for both these two things, they would prefer for, maybe some will prefer for private, but mostly they want to go outside abroad. So even people, there are very limited people who thinks I will work for private company. Yeah, that's all.
Okay. And so when did you? Because okay, so I guess I see. Yeah, like so, like I guess no one speaks about entrepreneurship, or there might not be entrepreneurs who are like role models in the society. So when did you start think? Did you start thinking about starting your own business after you discovered everything in Singapore, or did you already start thinking about it before that?
Well, when I had this job 9 to 5, so I always wanted to start my own business. So that time, since I was working somewhere else, so it was easier for me to explore for information, like what are the procedure if I want to start business. So that time I found that to start a business, it was a bit difficult. You need to have a proper infrastructure, you need to have proper team, you need to have then you need to have some money to get proper clearances for businesses. So when I was working, and then I thought, from the dry salary that I'm getting, I felt I cannot really start business. So I thought, maybe I should still focus on my job, and then make my interest this freelancing as in my side income for myself. So when I had this job, I did try to start my own business, but it was really difficult for me to start because of limited knowledge on the business. First thing, I never had much knowledge on how to do a business. I was a technical guy. So, but I realized that I was not meant for 9 to 5 job. I always wanted to do something apart from that 9 to 5 job.
Mm. But already doing freelancing, it was different from what other Bhutanese youth would do, right?
Yes. And and then one interesting thing is, I didn't study anything much in the college. We just went there for fun, and then we somehow got, by the completion of 3 years, we got our certificate. When I got into the job market, that was the hard, bitter truth when it hit us. Our certificate didn't really matter in the market. They needed experience. They needed people with skills. So our certificate, it was just saying that we have completed our studies, but it was not really giving us a concrete support. And then I had this opportunity, 1 week opportunity, where I was given a chance to study how to develop website in one of the tech companies here. So they gave me 1 week time to study about web designing, and within 1 week they taught me all the basic of web designing. After that, I took another 1 month online. I studied all from YouTube on how to develop a website using a template. And that's how I started, my freelancing, my passive income interest was drawn from all this learning a basic website designing. And then I enjoyed doing some design work as well. So we did some social media marketing and all for some of the companies. So that's how, I thought, okay, I think, I can really make more money than what my job is currently paying me. So that's how I started.
And so, well, what did you study at university?
I studied a computer application.
Okay. But what you really applied was during the 1 month and 1 week of learning, like when you learn by yourself, like most of the
Yeah.
skill, I mean, like, so yeah, are you saying like most of the skill you gained was really from the 1 month and 1 week rather than the 3 years of university?
Yes. So, our university, there was actually, it's not the fault of the university. They taught us everything, but the thing is, we didn't really took that seriously. But I realized that, it was really important when I got to the job market only. So yeah, all the skills that I possess right now on the web designing and graphic designing is all through the YouTube. I've learned in that 1 month time of that period.
Okay, okay. Well, it's really cool. Uh, okay, so then you moved to Singapore. You started to do the freelancing, and how long did it take you you discovered this space in Singapore? How long did it take you to say, okay, I'm quitting my job. I go back to Bhutan.
So within first 3 months, I found out this concept really interesting, and by the end of the third month, I requested and I quit my job, and then I came back home. So it was since it was my first time traveling overseas. I felt like Tarzan going from a village to a town area. So when I got to Singapore, I took this opportunity to explore as much as I could. I was hardly in the room, so I was going around looking for things, exploring for opportunities, and yeah, within third month of my stay in Singapore, I found out this concept of co-working space and incubation from Singapore.
Okay. How long did you stay in Singapore in total?
3 months.
Okay. And actually, I want to. So you mentioned. So you said you grew up in a village.
Yeah, no. Since since it was my first time traveling to overseas,
Yeah.
first time taking a flight, so it felt like a thousand coming from a village and going to a city. So that's how I
Okay.
felt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Are you from Thimphu or are you from
yeah,
another city?
yeah. I was born and brought up in Thimphu capital only.
Okay. Okay. No, because yeah, no, I agree. I mean, because Singapore is quite a big, and tall city, so it must. h- How was? I mean, do you remember your first day arriving in Singapore?
Yes, it was really interesting for me because I was traveling for first time, and I was making my passport for the first time in my life, just to travel to Singapore. And I studied most of the thing again on online. How do I check in using my passport, and what should I do when I get to the airport. And then yeah, for me, coming from our international airport in Paro, it was not really an issue though it is a because it was a small airport. When I got to Singapore, oh wow, that's where I thought I might I might need to contact my employer immediately once I land over there, because their airport was so huge. I didn't really knew that how should I go out from now this point, and from where should I collect my luggage. So I was completely lost. I was looking for the belt, from which belt should I collect my baggage and all. So I took another 30 minutes looking for the belt itself. And then and then yeah my and then there were people who came for my reception at the airport, and even they were a bit worried, because I was not showing up on time, because I was lost inside the airport. I was looking for my baggage, and then finally I found, I somehow made my way throughout, and then they were, again, they wanted to tease me. My employer, they wanted to tease me. And then they were hiding behind one billboard because they knew I'm traveling for the first time. So they wanted to surprise me. So they were just hiding. And then I felt, I was really lost, and I was worried at that time. I was looking around, looking for people that, I might know. So I was looking around, and suddenly they show up from that particular billboard. They were hiding behind that billboard, and they surprised me. So yeah, that's how I got into Singapore.
And did you like? Was there any cultural shock, during your stay in Singapore, or what would you like? Because Singapore, is a fast city. People are in a rush. People, they work all the time. I mean,
Yeah.
from what I understand of Singapore, but like, did you manage to adapt well to the Singapore city?
Well, for first few days it was difficult, but I was mentally prepared to face any kind of challenges. So adapting to their work culture was not really an issue for me. But being a vegetarian and going to Singapore and not knowing about the food culture was a bit difficult for me that time. So yeah, I was looking for, whenever I wanted to eat something, I was looking for some vegetarian food, and I was looking for Indian food court every time. But when you are in the office, you cannot always look for an Indian food court. So food was a difficult thing for me when I was traveling to Singapore. and it is always a problem when I travel overseas with my being vegetarian.
Yeah, you always need to look for the Indian restaurants.
Yeah, somehow.
Okay, cool. Well, I mean, so to come back on the coworking space and iHub, so how did you feel, during, how to say? So you discovered the coworking space, and then you came back to Bhutan. Were you sure that how did you feel? Were you like, did you have doubt, or were you like super confident that you will make it work? Was there anyone to help you, to support you, or you were learning from YouTube or from Google?
Well, when I was in Singapore, I studied around like 138 website, and basically accompanies, how a co-working space works, and how a incubation is supposed to be managed. I learned everything from when I was down there in Singapore only. And then when I came back, whatever saving I had made from Singapore, I gave to my family, saying that was basically a assurance to them that, I will not use the money that I've earned. I'm going to start from zero. And so, and then I went and talked to my 5 best friends that I have, and they are the support system. So I told them, I got this idea. That's the very reason why I left the job and came back. And then they were saying, how am I supposed to make money from a co-working space? So and then, yeah, they were basically trying to ask such questions so that to get clear image of what kind of business I'm trying to do. And somehow 4 of them were not really convinced. And still then they said, these things will not work in Bhutan. The sharing economy is quite new, so it will not work in Bhutan. And then they said, we will give you some money. So I got around like 26,000 Niltram. So it's like maybe less than $300. So
Okay.
my friend, they contributed. And then I said, I'm going to return this money within a year time. And then I went back home and I told my parents that, just to give me one year time. And then within 1 year, I will show you and I will prove you that, my business can really work. And then they said, okay, one year time. Even my friends, they said, okay, 1 year is good time for me to figure out. And then 1 year, it just went by, trying to get my business license. So we couldn't really get our business license. But still what I did was, I went around and I looked for a space. And luckily I got in touch with one of my senior. So he wanted to live abroad. And then he was trying to sell off his furniture. So I said, I cannot pay you directly, but I know how to develop a website. Since you're traveling outside, I will develop some travel agent website for you, so that when you are working outside, you can still, try to market your tour operator, tour agency in that particular country. And that's how we agreed. So he gave me around 8 tables and 12 chairs. So that's how we started, without, and then from that 5 friends, 2 of them were jobless. So I have a working space. I have this concept of incubation. Now I needed someone to use my space. So what I did was I requested 2 of them, if you start business from now, and then if you look, and I was just trying to give them scenario of if they're having a job and where they will be in future, and then giving them another scenario of starting your own business and being your own boss, and where you can see yourself in the future. So somehow I was able to convince 2 of them. And then the one thing that really helped me convince them was, during that time I applied for Global Entrepreneurship Summit through US Embassy. And then somehow I got shortlisted, and then I requested to the organizer if we could give more opportunity to some of the Bhutanese entrepreneurs in Bhutan. And then I told my friends, not, and then they agreed, saying that they will give opportunity to many entrepreneurs to attend that summit. And then I went back to 2 of my friends and I told them, not this particular business will not just give you money, but it will give you opportunity to travel outside also. So that's how I convinced them. And then both of them, they agreed, and both of them started a business. One is into sports event management, and the other one, he started a logistic business where he delivers LPG cooking gas door to door, and now he have ventured into food delivery also. So now these two people now makes more money than what my business makes. So that's how we started.
Wow, that's so cool. It's the story of the first 2 entrepreneurs of iHub. Nice.
Yeah.
No, but you had to sell them the idea of becoming entrepreneurs. Tell them, you'll make money, you'll travel, you have a space, please come. So cool.
And then I started to study some more policy document, and then some of the initiative that government were taking on. So what I learned was our Ministry of Labor, they had a budget every year for people, especially for university graduates, to do internship. So government were paying for their internship. So I came to know about that program, and then I reached out to the ministry saying that, if you could give that money to 10 entrepreneurs to be supported by iHub, we will give you result by 6 months. So I was so ambitious that time, and then I said 6 months. And then they, even because we were basically complementing some of the initiative done by the government, so they agreed and they said, okay, go, we will. Somehow we got lucky, and they said they will support us. And then we got that support. And then then the next problem was I just had 2 people with me. Now I need to look for another 8 people to join me. So then we used social media, saying that, okay, we have such kind of incubation and co-working space services, and we will be providing it for free, and Ministry of Labor is going to support you. And then I think, and then somehow it was quite surprising. And then around 20 people, they applied for this particular program. And then I was being really selective because I need to show result by end of 6 months. And then I was being really selective. Out of that 20, I just took 10 business, which I thought has a potential in the country and might have some potential, to in the neighboring countries. So that's how I selected. And then what happened was, now after in 2018, we celebrated our first graduation ceremony. So out of 10 business, I was able to push 6 businesses in the market. And then all these 6 business, now we just have 4. And these 4 businesses have raised fund from various agencies. They have created employment opportunities. And now before they just started with one table and chair. Now they own their own office spaces. So that's how we have done in the earlier days.
I mean, it's. I think like what you say, like it shows a lot of great lessons also, for entrepreneurs, like to, do with the resources you have. I really like, when you say, yeah, I have no money for the chairs and table, but I know how to make websites. So I'll give him a website, and in exchange, I'll just take his furniture. And then, you go around and tell people, yeah, trust me, in 6 months. And then you just try to make it happen, and you make it happen. I think that's, but I mean, when I mean, when you say all of that, it sounds that like very easy or like very straightforward, but how did you feel back then? You like your promised result in 6 months. How do you feel in your head?
Well, to be honest, that time many people didn't really understand what is entrepreneurship, what is, what it takes someone to start a business without the money. So it was really difficult for me to, really explain, or I didn't really have people to talk to. So it was really difficult for me in the initial stage. But somehow I learned about the mentorship. And then I thought, okay, one good component that I can always adopt in my incubation is having industrial expert, people who are already there in the market, people who knows about this, the ecosystem. So I got in touch with prominent businesses, and then I even got in touch with people in these social entrepreneurs. So I requested them if they could, be a pro bono mentor. And to my surprise, most of them said yes. And they said they were willing to give back to the community. They knew what it takes to, to start your business. So with this support from this mentor, I was able to share my experience and how I was feeling. And then they were able to, relate my feelings, and they were teaching us they were teaching us how to, face this stress, and how do we mentally keep ourselves going, even if there is lots of problem in front of us. So I feel, having got in touch with mentor made more things easier for me. And then the second thing was, what we did was, since I promised within 6 months I'm supposed to deliver a result. So for first 2 years, 2017 and 2018, I didn't go home much. We slept in office. We had one room. We have this a meeting room. During daytime, it's a meeting room. Towards evening, it converts to our bedroom, where four, usually it's like 6 of us who sleep there. So because some entrepreneurs, they came all the way from different district to the capital to do business. So they didn't really have much place to stay in the capital, and the rent were really high. So I said, you can use this space, stay here, and then in the morning by 9 we should be ready and make everything clean and make it an office, so that there will be visitors. So having them, having those people with a similar passion and similar interest made things easier for us. It was really, and then the other part of this is the sustainability of an incubation. So because I was a startup myself, trying to help other startup. So it was difficult for us to, charge other startup at that period of time. So before this ministry support came in, we were basically trying and selling off some of the item that we had. So I had 5 laptops. So I was selling one by one each month just to sustain ourselves. And then from my young age, I always wanted to use Mac. And somehow when I had opportunity to work in Singapore, I bought one Mac laptop. And then that was the painful thing, selling off that Mac just to sustain. Because rather than selling a Dell laptop, it was better for me to sell a Mac and then get more money. So it was really painful at that time, and we sold that one. And then from that moment, I think we didn't have to sell anything, because somehow, the things really worked out. Ministry of Labor coming in and supporting us, 10 entrepreneurs. And after that, we had this Lothian Foundation. They basically support social entrepreneurs. They came in as a great saver for us. I think they never gave grant to any entrepreneur as of now. They give interest and collateral free loan, but they have never given grant to anyone. So I was lucky enough to get that grant as well as loan. So 1 million neutron, and then that's how we have sustained so far.
Nice. Yeah. It's like I guess one milestone in iHub history is when you sacrifice the MacBook.
Yeah, that's my personal milestone.
Did you manage to buy a MacBook back later?
Yes.
Okay, so it came back. Yeah. I wanted to come back on I think, very important point that you mentioned, like when you spoke with the mentors who, guided you on how to handle stress, pressure, and, all the goals that you set for yourself. Like, what were like some of the things that you did to handle stress and pressure?
Well, one thing is like I never read books before, and then my mentor, they told me to read books. So one thing that whenever I have stress or whenever I feel there is a particular problem, I take on a book and then I try to read, no matter it's not related to my problem and that book doesn't have any relation, but just to relax myself, I took up the habit of reading, and now that's quite something which is really helpful. And then the other thing is I requested, and then I had two kind of a mentor, one who really understand you as a person, to whom I can really be vulnerable and to share anything that I want. And then the other one is one who understood my business. So having those strategies really helped me to to come across any kind of challenges. And then the advice that they gave me about reading book, and the first book that you read really matters. So for me, the first book that I read was Measure What Matters, and that book I still carry that book, and then I have read more than 3 times, because now that book really helps me to set my goals each day, each quarter, and annually. So yeah, that's how I handled my all the challenges that I have, by listening to my mentor, and then whatever they said I taken really seriously, and then after listening to them and then implementing it really made sense for me. Did I answer your question?
No, yeah, perfect. It's I think interesting how you divided mentors, like one for more personal life and one for the business side. I think it's important to understand what can the mentors bring to you, and also I when I was, from what I hear about iHub and when I hear speaking, I understood that iHub is, you wanted to connect people together. Everything that you put into iHub comes from what you have lived yourself, whether it's the loneliness of entrepreneurs, whether it's having a mentor, business mentor, but also more emotional mentor, setting goal. I feel like it's everything that you, because many people, when they think about co-working space, they just think of a space and people come and go. But it's a co-working space in the way I like to see co-working spaces, a place where you come and then you're not alone anymore, and you also get support. And it's what you mentioned by pre-incubation program. Yeah. So I think it's good to understand, the philosophy of iHub through your own experience. I think it makes it more relatable.
And then the one thing that, in the due course of the process of trying to make money and sustain ourselves, like I said in my earlier time, I thought I can easily make money by selling space and providing the pre-incubation services. But it was difficult for us to make money. But what I realized with due course of the time was we were not really after the money. We had a different calling at that point of time. My calling was to make an impact through the entrepreneurs. It was not to make money. So that is one thing that I've learned. and and then I always tell my entrepreneurs that we are not here to make money. We are here to make some impact, and then the business that we do needs to have some values, and then that values should be derived from the gross national happiness, the pillars that our great leaders have built for us. So we need to collect, and then we need to connect all this thing, and then our business is not just about making money, it is about making an impact. And having a business with values is what I was focusing on. So it took quite a time to really realize that I was not really after money. I was after making impact. And at the same time, sustaining ourselves was one thing. But I realized that I was not really after money once I started my business. Before I thought, I can make easy money by selling spaces.
But what you just said makes me think of one of the only thing I know about Bhutan, which is the happiness index, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say that it? I don't know how to. Do you think that the happiness index it influences a bit as well your philosophy in setting up iHub, or it's something that doesn't really affect your daily life?
Yeah, I feel understanding those philosophy of gross national happiness and having this clear vision of this gross national happiness really makes an impact in each and every entrepreneur who is trying to start business in Bhutan. Now, because of the government initiative, there are lots of young people who are thinking entrepreneurship as a career option. So now all these people will always and will and have this the influence of this philosophy of gross national happiness on them. And then I feel even because of this particular concept of happiness, I feel our entrepreneurs, they are mostly socially driven, and then profit is their secondary at the moment.
No, it's interesting because we usually in general, like we separate entrepreneurship and social entrepreneurship. But I feel like from what you say, and it's the same. Sort of the same in Bhutan, because it's culturally. When entrepreneurship has been promoted to be something that is impact driven in any case, so you don't need to distinguish between the two because it's somehow the same thing.
Yeah, I think because of this concept of, I think one is the influence of the concept of gross national happiness, and other is the teaching of Buddhism, which always tells to think of the other side first, and then to think about the benefit that we will have. So I think this having this Buddhism mindset and then the concept of gross national happiness, these two kind of blend in into our young entrepreneurs. And then, like you said, we don't really have a differentiation between an entrepreneur and then social entrepreneur.
You mentioned that like now these days, entrepreneurship is seen as a new career option from young people, and because when you were in university, it was not an option that existed. So would you say like now that more young people, young Bhutanese are more entrepreneurial, or they are more entrepreneurs than before? Did you see the change from when you started?
Yeah, now I think because of this, there has been a great influence from His Majesty the King himself, and then the government putting in lots of effort to promote self-employment and entrepreneurship from the grassroots, from schools to college, then to university graduates. So before, I think most people, they didn't really thought that they could convert their passion into something worth living. From their passion they could make money. And now with all this initiative, I now there's lots of people who now it became like a trend People say now I'm an entrepreneur and I want to do something like this, and I have this great solution built for this particular problem. So now university students are more open for such kind of career option. So they think, okay, working on their particular passion can be something that can, generate revenue for themselves and can be a self-sustaining thing.
No, so so it's good for iHub. You will have more entrepreneurs to mentor.
Yeah. But the thing is, since I have being a private entity, we are being a bit choosy on selecting the entrepreneurs. Because for me, anyone who graduates from iHub needs to, give some impact, social impact, at the same time, economical impact. So we are really careful in choosing entrepreneurs. So I still have those 4 entrepreneurs with me. So we are not taking in like cohort or a batch wise. So what we do is, if I attend all kind of community event, and then when I see people pitching, and if they have brilliant idea but they are not winning that particular competition, I go and reach out to them and say, are you really serious? And do you really want to continue with that particular business? And then if they say yes, then we offer them a proper working space free of cost at our workstation, and then we further groom their ideas.
How do you know when it's the right entrepreneur? I mean, when because many entrepreneurs might have good ideas, or maybe they're like super good in interviews, but when they come to implementation, you're just like, it doesn't really meet your expectations. Like, how do you select, entrepreneurs?
So for me, we have like only 2 parameters here. One is I check the background of that particular founder who is pitching, and I try to understand what that particular founder he himself is, and then only we go to the viability of the business. So before I approach that particular founder, I will make sure that I've done enough homework about that particular person, and then only we will approach them. Because as a founder, if we cannot coach him, then it is no use. No matter how good business idea he has, it's of no use. So we look at such parameter. When I do homework on founder, I will check whether that particular person is coachable or not, whether that particular person is open for suggestions, whether that particular person is really serious about his idea. Because in Bhutan, what happens is entrepreneurship is the last career option that we will have. If I don't get into government, corporation, private, then maybe I will do business. So I will always, when I go and meet them, I always ask this question. If you are given money to start your business, and at the same time, if you are given a comfortable job from the corporate, which one would you choose? So that's my first basic question. And that answer really matters from, if they say, I will go for corporation, then I'm not going to talk to that particular person anymore. So these are some of the basic parameters that I put up when I talk to some of the young founders.
Yeah, it's really, I mean, it's like really investing your time and energy on the founder rather than just the idea, like really seeing, okay, will this person grow? Will this person take feedback? Is this person committed? Because if you give the space, everything, and this person gets a job offer after 1 week, you're like, did it happen? Like, would you say sometime it happened that you selected founders, but they didn't happen to meet your expectations? Or so far, so good?
Well, what happened was, from the 10 entrepreneurs that were supported by the Ministry of Labor, 2 of them, they had good ideas. But what happened was, it is not that they were not coachable or they were not up to the parameter that I had. But what happened was the cultural and the societal mindset. Their parents didn't really allow them to start their business. And then they landed up going abroad and working. So we do have such stories like where we have thought they could do it, but but it depends because they were not really able to go against or able to convince their family about the idea that they had. So yeah, we had two in the beginning.
Yeah. No, but definitely, I think there's some. I mean, the cultural aspect and the family aspect is really important.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess your way to convince your own parents was to tell them, "Give me 1 year."
yeah.
Um, but was it easy to convince them?
Well, no, one. So that's where I said, whatever earning I had, I have given to my family, and then 1 year time, I didn't really make money, but they were able to see some impact, on through my social media. I was posting a lot, and then whatever I see and whenever I meet a new people, I learn something. So I make sure I posted everything on the social media, and then I was meeting influential people in the community. I was meeting with the prime minister, meeting with the ministers, and then all the corporate heads, and I was basically trying to sell my idea. So, and then whenever I meet with them, I make sure I take a picture with them and post it online, and then yeah, that really helped me to grow my the network. And then even my mother, she thought, at least I'm doing something. So she really didn't have problem even after 1 year.
Okay. And in 2018, you met your king, right?
Yes, I think
Wow.
yeah. So yeah, I don't know how it happened, but somehow this I don't have a word to express how grateful I am to being able to summon by His Majesty the King, their Majesty basically, and then yeah, I think it is the work that I've done, or maybe I don't have a particular thing to express my feelings here, but I nearly missed that opportunity. I was there in Delhi undergoing training at that time, and and then I received a call from His Majesty Secretariat, and then they said, we have been summoned by the king, and I was like, when are we supposed to meet? Because I just had 1 day in Delhi, and the next day I was flying back. They said it's on next day, and then it was really difficult for me, directly to land and come to Thimphu. So so I was requesting them if they could, push the time a little bit towards evening. And then they said, no, they cannot do it because, yeah, and I understand. It's a king, we cannot. And then I said, I will. And I took a chance saying that, okay, I will make it anyhow. And yeah, somehow we were supposed to meet at 2, and then it somehow got postponed to 4. So I was successfully able to make from India to directly to the palace. So that time, yeah, I actually it's beyond word that I could express that particular feeling, that particular moment, and this is my lifetime achievement. I don't think I will ever get such opportunity again in my life. And after that, I've been fortunate enough that again I was nominated by His Majesty the King's office, and I got this opportunity to attend a leadership training in Bhutan. It's an institute established by His Majesty, and and very few private people get opportunity to attend that particular training, and I was the second one who got opportunity to attend that, and yeah, so these are something that because of iHub I got all this opportunity, and then I don't have particular word to express my gratefulness and my thankfulness for such opportunity, and I'm basically a speechless
No,
here.
it's so beautiful. Like people cannot see, but you are smiling a lot. Yeah, like you cannot stop your smile. So it's so no, but yeah, I mean, I feel like in Bhutan, the king is really I mean, he's like, you know, I mean, I don't know how to say that, but he's really loved, and also your prime minister is a superstar. I watch his TEDx talk. He's so funny.
Yeah.
But I felt like you are really proud of his TED talk. I saw you mentioned this TED talk in the article as well.
Yes.
Um, no, yeah, no, so it must be a real honor to
Yeah.
meet them, and you have the
And
picture so
yeah.
you can show to everyone now.
Yes. Now that particular the image, the photo that I have with with their Majesty, it's my poster in every presentation I make anywhere in Bhutan, in international platform. I make sure I have that particular thing because that's more than what I've ever thought of when I started my business. So that is one of the greatest achievement in my life. So I make sure I have this particular photo with me. And like you said, our leaders, our king, are being loved by people. It's not because I got this opportunity to meet with their Majesty. I got opportunity to attend some leadership training. It's because our leader have always taught us and always showed us example of putting people in front and always thinking about people first. They always wanted, their people to be happy. They always wanted us to be happy. And then they never, they were selfless leader. So yeah, that's the very reason why people have huge respect towards our kings. You know, without which I think even if I say if there was no concept of gross national happiness, if I say I'm from Bhutan, people might not know us where Bhutan is. But now because of that gross national happiness, whole world knows about Bhutan. And then subsequently, our prime minister he made a great former prime minister he made a great speech on the Bhutan being a carbon sink, and his TED
Yes.
talk went so viral, and people knew about Bhutan. So we are really grateful to our leaders, and yeah, maybe I will take this opportunity to thank our current government as well. Our current government, with this such pandemic, they are doing a tremendous job. I think they are a medical doctor who then became a politician. And then with such pandemic coming through, I think we chose the right government in the right time. And they have always respected the views of His Majesty the King, though they are the political leader. They have respected the view from His Majesty the King. They have always respected what their citizen has to say, and they have never done anything that I feel which is against the will of our particular or individual citizen. So through your podcast, I would like to thank our government for taking care of us, especially during such pandemic, and keeping all of us so safe. And then I know our current prime minister, he haven't been to his home for I think more than now 6 months or so. He has been in working with the frontliner, sleeping in the office. So that's how our leader are showing example to us. And as a young entrepreneur and a community manager, I always tell my younger friends to always look up to our leaders. They have never showed us anything like a bad example or anything. They have always forged a way ahead, and they have always been farsighted and future oriented. So we always have to now live up to their expectation. And yeah, our His Majesty fourth king and now fifth king always emphasizes on youth. And I don't think any other country would have given such importance to youth. I think our country, I don't know about the other, but in every national address, youth are always given the first and the topmost priority by our leaders. They always wanted youth to do something, and they always wanted to create opportunities for youth. And then they have, They have walked their talk. Now it is our turn to grab such opportunities and then to do something which will really have a positive impact in the community, in the country, and as well as in the whole in near future. Yeah.
It's so refreshing to hear you speak about the king and the prime minister like this, because I mean, you go to any other country, no one will say something like this these days. So it's so refreshing to hear that, really. And yeah, I mean, for me, I'm impressed by Bhutan because I really felt, yeah, you said like future oriented, future thinking. I really think it's the right word because, when I think about Bhutan being carbon negative, when I think about Bhutan and all the procedure for tourists to come, I think it's really forward looking because they just wanted to counter mass tourism. They wanted to be a carbon sink. I mean, so many things that are very, big challenges these days. Feels like Bhutan thought about it already like 30 years ago. And did some. I mean, I think everyone thought about it 30 years ago, but Bhutan did something, as you said, they walked the talk. So it's good to hear it from you. So yeah, I hope they will listen.
As long as people who are taking our program and who are being part of iHub community, I think each and every one us can really resonate with our leaders, and then we are really trying our best to live up to what our leaders have done for us.
Thank you for sharing all of that. Can I ask you how old are you now?
30.
30. Okay. So you started iHub at 27?
26.
26. Okay. So my question is, if you could meet the Tashi of 18-year-old, and you could tell him something, what would you tell him?
Oh, that's an interesting question. Well, I would, maybe one thing going back is I would encourage that Tashi to read. Reading was key, and reading is a key. So I would encourage him to read, and then to always not to just think about what I cannot do, or I will tell him not always to look for things from a different perspective, not just stop from a one particular angle and stop. Okay, I feel that there is no solution for that particular problem. I would tell that Tashi to look from a different perspective on how can we really overcome or achieve that particular thing. Yeah, these are the two things I would always tell to that particular Tashi.
Okay, cool. So, and related to the first thing, so you mentioned that first book that you read. Is there another book that particularly, impacted you?
There's one book that was given by His Majesty the King to us. What I Wish I Knew When I Was 20. So that particular book.
Oh.
Yeah. So whenever I get opportunity to go and teach in some of the schools and university, I make sure I read one of the chapter particular from that. I don't have particularly a favorite chapter, but I make sure I read one chapter, and then I will take one exercise from that particular chapter, and then I will implement with the students.
Is that a book written by the king?
No. It's given by the king, but it's written by Tina Sealing.
Okay, all right. Cool. No, I think, you gave two very important advice. I mean, the one about reading, I think, I mean, knowing how it helped you, I think, I mean, if I'd known that earlier, it could have been helpful. And like looking at the different angle, it's, do you see the glass of water half full or half empty? It always matters of perspective. No, that's great. And I wanted to ask you a few questions about the future. Like, what I've seen that now you will try to put like iHub's activities more online. was one of your future plans for iHub, and what is, your vision for iHub in Bhutan?
Okay. So before going back to the vision, I would like to say that, from 2019, we took one step back. We thought, rather than directly going and encouraging youth to take up entrepreneurship and to really understand why youth are not taking up, entrepreneurship as their career option. So we wanted to understand that particular phase. And then we took one step back, and then we thought one reason is the policy was not really a friendly policy. So we thought, now it is really high time to have a policy dialogue with the government. So I made sure, I hosted a smaller event, and for the first time, I think a private entity like my iHub, we hosted a national event, a national dialogue on, where I was able to bring in 500 plus people together, including politicians, like development partners, private sectors, students. I was able to bring them all together in a room, and then we discussed about some of the issues that our current entrepreneurs have, and what are the things that government and entrepreneurs can do together, and then we somehow forced a way forward. And then from that event, we were able to somehow develop a entrepreneur ecosystem map whereby we can show which agency is doing what for what kind of stage of startup. And then after that, maybe it is from our event that our government started buying products from local entrepreneurs in their particular meetings, and then they were basically trying to encourage, they as a growing economy in Bhutan, I think our first customer is government. So somehow government were supporting us through such event. And as a vision, I don't really have my innovative vision right now, but it is a forward vision. So we wanted to develop a ecosystem whereby we are encouraging innovative young, we are encouraging young people to do something innovative and to allow them and then give the space to think something new, something out of the box, apart from the traditional way of thinking. So this is something that we are trying to work on, and then give them the best working station that we can.
Cool. No, thank you so much for sharing. And related to that, here comes my favorite question of my podcast that I ask all the time, which is, how do you want people to know you for and to remember you for?
Well, maybe I want them to know me as a community builder, as a connector, helping them connect with one another. So even my iHub logo has a bridge over there, which simply signifies that I wanted to be a bridge between government agency or a young startup or a customer and a seller, and maybe between a young entrepreneur and a mentor. So we just basically wanted to be the bridge to help connect with one another. So I want people to know me as a bridge, as a connector.
Okay, so Tashi is a bridge.
Yeah.
Cool. No, I think, and to add on that, I think that's a very, so to add on that, I've seen on Facebook, and I know that the first time we met in Singapore at campus party, you had your Go, so the traditional clothing, so similar as what the former prime minister had in his TED talk. And I think this is a very powerful, I think you also want people to know that you are from Bhutan. I don't know if that's correct or not, but I feel like you are proud to be from Bhutan, and you want to show people that you are from Bhutan, that people know what is Bhutan. So I think it's really nice that you also embody your country when you're abroad. Wanted to ask you, how would you describe? So I think you said it a bit already, but how would you describe yourself in 3 hashtags?
Okay, my my favorite hashtag is, and again, a borrowed one from Techstar. So it's give first. It's always the community that, you know, I always wanted to put first. So, and always wanted to give preference or opportunity to our community first. So I borrowed that concept of give first from Techstar. That is one thing. And then so you want me to give three, right?
Yes.
So maybe one is hashtag give first, and another one is, like I said, I wanted to be the bridge. So
Yes.
hashtag connect, and then the other one would be, it's a quite interesting thing. So maybe other one would be like hashtag give first connect, and yeah, the other one would be the social entrepreneur. Hashtag social entrepreneur, basically making an impact.
It's really cool. I feel like we are similar in many points because me too, I really like speaking about give first. I also see myself as a connector. I also used to work in the coworking space, really with the same purpose. And so let me share with you another uh, hashtag. So because me, I didn't start any social enterprise, so I cannot use social entrepreneur, but I usually say that I'm a social gardener.
Yeah.
And so let me explain. I find it very interesting. So imagine, so that's a story I share all the time with people.
Okay.
Imagine, like, take 2 seeds. You will have one seed that will grow into a beautiful plant, a beautiful flower, it will be shining, very beautiful, etc. And another plant will not really grow, it will decay, it will just die.
Mm-hmm.
And you know why? Because it's the same seeds, but one plant got enough water, got a good soil, got enough sunlight. It grew into an enabling environment, while the other plant didn't get this enabling environment and just died. And for me, it's similar for social entrepreneurs, for young leaders. Some entrepreneurs get just chance to meet mentors. Some entrepreneurs get the chance to find a nice co-working space. But some others, they don't know that these opportunities exist. So they quickly, the business don't survive. And when I say social gardener, I see myself as someone who can provide water, sunlight to the seeds, provide this enabling environment. And yeah, I wanted to share that with you because I felt like you will relate as well, because it's
Yeah.
exactly what you are doing.
I think I will copy this hashtag concept because I will be talking to some of the young people by to the evening. I think I'm going to start with that particular social gardener concept with them. Thank you
Oh
so
yes,
much.
take it. And the last thing on that is also, I define myself as social gardener, but depending on who you are talking to, you might be the seed.
Yeah.
I might be the seed of mentors, but sometimes I'm the social gardener for other people. So it's you are both throughout your life. So yeah, please, yes, share that to to people in Bhutan. Cool. So yeah, no, I think we've been speaking for 1 hour and 20 minutes. So just wanted to thank you so much. I think your story is really amazing. I can't wait to share with as many people as possible. It's really good to have the behind the scene of how does the correct pre-incubation start. I think it's really, really nice. And my final question for you is, how can people support you? How can people collaborate with you? And how can they contact you? Because I know you're always looking for different contacts, for different trainers to do online trainings for Bhutanese entrepreneurs. So yeah, how can people contact you and how can people support you?
Yeah. I think maybe to connect with one another, I'm quite active on all the social media platform with name Tashi iHub. That becomes my social media handle. And then, yeah, I think one area that I always believed is the concept of collaboration, and that's the reason why I've been always looking for various people, because because as a developing nation, and the concept of incubation and the entrepreneurship itself is quite new. I always believed in learning from people who have already been there in the market, and who really understand and who can really share us their insight. So, one way is, if you feel that you can contribute your knowledge, and if you feel that you can collaborate in some ways, please feel free to reach out to me on Instagram and LinkedIn, and Facebook, of course. So these three social media, I'm quite active. Okay.
Okay, cool. So yeah, everyone, if you think you have any skill that you'd like to share with young people in Bhutan, contact Tashi. If you also enjoyed Tashi's story, please tell him. It's always good to see that people like our stories. And I mean, actually, I had a real final question, so about Bhutan. But what resources do you recommend to people who want to know more about Bhutan? So we mentioned the TED Talk already, but is there anything else that you'd like to share to people who want to know more about Bhutan?
Oh, okay. This is quite tricky one. Okay. I think, when we type Bhutan, I think many things pops up, especially the tour operator's website comes up. I feel if you really want to know about and learn about Bhutan, is maybe you could. Oh, I haven't thought of this one, but maybe you could look up for like blogs written by a Dr. Karma Finto, who is the president and the founder of Lothian Foundation. So maybe if you could look up to his blog, you will really understand. He will make sure that he will give perspectives from history of Bhutan till the current what Bhutan is. So you will get to learn from his blog a lot.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, we'll put the link. You can follow all the posts of Tashi on the social media also. Cool. No, thank you so much. It was really a pleasure to have you. And yeah, keep in touch, Tashi. And yeah, thank you so much for the interview.
And yeah, thank you so much for this opportunity. And after talking to you, I feel a bit relaxed, and I feel that I've talked over. In the beginning, I said I don't think I could share, but somehow you made it this conversation so open, friendly, and you made me really comfortable. And then I was able to share more. So thank you so much for giving such opportunity to me.
Oh no, I'm so happy to hear that. Yeah, so for the story, before the interview started, Tashi said to me, I'm a man of few words. But actually it went pretty well. Thank you so much, Tashi. Congrats for listening until the end of this episode. Of course, to best support Lifeline, you can share this episode to 2 of your friends and subscribe to the next episodes on any platform. See you next time.